Hey, 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 hey. What y'all gonna do? We'll cruise up my stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir. Yo, life is full of options, switching all the time, but the quickest way from A to B is still a straight line. I ain't lying, that is science. I'm trying to explain, cause if you apply determination, you can do anything. You can put your mind to. Give me the audio chord so I can find something to ride to. We're about to fly to another planet. Is magical, warp speed like it's intergalactic. The way you make me feel, let's dip, cause we can fly in my starship like Han Solo by the castle mines, like Cowboy Bebop with jet inspired, like Captain Kirk on the Enterprise. We can travel far like a Dharma did in a Battlestar. I'm flinging haters like a catapult. You feel the heat and take it off. Like what y'all gonna do? We'll cruise up my stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir. Keep your windows down. Breeze hitting, you didn't know, but you know now. I'm not kidding, there ain't no stopping. BSing is not an option. I just wanna see everybody rocking. I wanna see you getting higher than a rocket. Land a spacecraft with Neil and Buzz Aldrin. She in the cockpit, cruising at an altitude up there where all the stars live. Take the TARDIS back to Gallifrey, we're the guardians of the galaxy. Like Superman and Lois Lane, go to Cybertron on the Astro train. I just want to see you do your thing. If you don't know now, then you'll learn. From the earth to the moon, influenced by Jules Verne. I'm not concerned about what y'all gonna do. We'll cruise up my stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir.
Packing up for another trip. If you drive by my way, relieve it, there's no rush to this. We can rock night and day. Intergalactic love for this. Take me to outer space. Pick me up on that mothership so we can fly away.
I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the sun.
Are we going somewhere?
I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the summer. I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the summer.
Where we going, baby?
Ooh. I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the summer. Like
What y'all trying to do?
hey, 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 hey. What y'all gonna do? We'll cruise up my stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir. Yo, life is full of options, switching all the time, but the quickest way from A to B is still a straight line. I ain't lying, that is science. I'm trying to explain, cause if you apply determination, you can do anything. You can put your mind to. Give me the audio chord so I can find something to ride to. We're about to fly to another planet. Is magical, warp speed like it's intergalactic. The way you make me feel, let's dip, cause we can fly in my starship like Han Solo by the castle mines, like Cowboy Bebop with jet inspired, like Captain Kirk on the Enterprise. We can travel far like a Dharma did in a Battlestar. I'm flinging haters like a catapult. You feel the heat and take it off. Like what y'all gonna do? We'll cruise up my stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir.
Okay, every Everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derek Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy. Cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derek Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship gumbo, ayy.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the Relationship Gumbo Podcast Live Edition. And I'm glad that y'all have chosen to hang out with your boy tonight. Tonight's show is all about liars. Why do people lie? What's the real reason why people lie? We need to know. Because sometimes it pisses us off, maybe every time. And we don't understand why people would choose to do that. So we're going to talk about that tonight. It's not going to be a long show, but it's going to be an informative one. So if you haven't been here before, the Relationship Gumbo Podcast is also an audio podcast. And so we upload the audio from this to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Basically, everywhere you can get a podcast, I am there. I worked really hard on that. I'm everywhere. Pandora, everywhere you listen to stuff, I'm there. So what I want to do tonight, like I said, I don't have a big lineup for the show because I got some things coming in November. So see folks coming in. Make sure y'all go to relationshipgumbo.info and check out everything that is there. Any appearances on shows are posted there, so you have a one-stop shop to see where I'm at and what I'm doing. And like I said, November is going to be exciting. Got some things I'm working on. So just stay tuned, stay connected. Please share. Bring your +1, +2, +10. Let people know about the show. Make sure you hit that like if you like the content. Click that thumb so that we can get this YouTube page popping. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and click the bell. So without further ado, what I normally do in order for us to get that good audio is I will pause for 3 seconds. I will start the podcast, and then at the end of the show, I will pause for another 3 seconds to be able to chop off the audio so that you guys can have that to listen to in your headphones or in your car. So, give me my 3 seconds, and we will get started. Welcome to another episode of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. My name is Derek Jones, and I am your host. I'm a certified life coach, an engineer, a strategist, and a mental health advocate. And tonight's show is about what's the real reason why people lie. And I think a lot of times the recipient of the lie feels a way because they want to know why that person lied to them. Why can't they just be honest? If you just tell me the truth, everything will be okay. Even if the results are bad, at least you were honest. And so I have a couple of bullet points that I kind of concocted. And it is not everything, but it's the ones that I think that are that will be most pertinent for you guys. So number one, sometimes honesty has its consequences. And sometimes, whether it's true or in our own heads, we feel like sometimes people will not be able to receive that honesty well. So we give it to them in a way that we think they can handle, but it's not honest. Because we fear what might happen if we tell them the truth. It's disingenuous, it's dishonest, it's a lie. Why would someone choose to do that? We have to understand that if that honesty results in something negative, that there's an emotional price to pay, you might get triggered, whatever, right? And some people don't want to be triggered so bad that they'd rather lie and postpone the consequence than to deal with it head on. So let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of this thing. So the first place I want to go is, well, I'm going to switch the order for you guys. Some people lie to get validation from others. Social media. If you tell them something that they want to hear, then they'll give you praise. They'll like your post. They'll believe what you're saying and be envious of you. People will lie about their lifestyles and their lives, and they want you to believe it because, and this is going to be a reoccurring theme tonight, if they knew who I really was, they might not like me. So the lie can stand as long as I can put it out there to make me feel better about myself without taking the inventory of who I am and what I am and being proud of that. I would rather lie and get false validation so that I can feel good. So, you know how some people say, oh, it's just a little lie, and we know little lies grow up into big lies because you got to keep going, right? But the origin of this lie, this particular type of lie does not come from a malicious place. It's really self-imposed. And the world doesn't know whether it's malicious or not because they don't have any other evidence to go by other than what you tell them. So in this case, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself that's saying that this is really who you are and you're pretending to be this person. Ultimately turns into a lie that you have to tell the world so that you can get the validation for you to feel better. So the question you have to ask yourself, this mask that I have to wear, this lie that I tell, is it worth sacrificing who I really am to get the adoration? So you got to think about it that way. Like, sit back, take a breath, look at your social media feed and ask yourself, am I lying or am I being honest? There's no judgment here. These are just questions that I need you to ask yourself. And like I said, tonight's show is going to be very concise. It's not going to be long. But I want you guys to really absorb this stuff. The next place that I want to go, where a lot of you are in this space even today, is in dating. Why would somebody lie during the dating phase? Why would they tell me some things that are untrue to get a consequence of me not dealing with them when they just could have been honest or even just not dealt with me in the first place and we wouldn't have had to go through none of this? So it stems from a similar place. When people lie about who they are, people lie about stupid things like height. Because it's a self-imposed view of how the world sees you, how this potential date will see you. They may not like the real me, so I have to pretend. I have to tell them something to get them in the door so that they will like me. So I'm going to say whatever it is I have to say to get you in the door, and hopefully once you actually get to experience me, it's a gamble, but it's also a lie. Your organic self wasn't good enough for someone to like in your head, so you lie. And the person that's on the receiving end is like, this dude lied about his height. Why wasn't he just honest? Because some people need the validation of knowing that someone liked them, right? Sounds familiar, right? The theme tonight is a lot of lies are born out of fear, whether it's a real fear or whether it's an eternal fear. It's born out of fear. The fear of rejection. If I tell them the truth, I will get rejected, and I don't want to feel like that. If I lie to them, even if somewhere down the road they figure it out, at least right now, I feel good and I'm not getting rejected. It's crazy, right? Because it's not fair to the other person who's just trying to get to know you. And when you're on the receiving end, you think it's so silly. It's so minute. Why would someone lie about something as crazy as height or where they live or what kind of car they have and all of these things? The need for validation, the need for the attention is greater than the need to be honest. And as long as that is true, they will continue it as long as they can to feel good until the jig is up. And then they have to deal with the consequences. And unfortunately, a lot of people who received the lie have bought into it and the rug gets pulled under, and there's probably some emotions there. You done spent a lot of time. And then you ask yourself the question, why would they waste my time? Why would they choose to waste my time? Why would they lie to me? And what we have to realize is that the lie has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them and the validation that they require, the self-esteem, the lower self-esteem that they may have. The lie makes sense in the time because I don't want to feel the hurt of rejection. I don't want to feel the hurt of somebody telling me I'm not good enough. And it's not always the people that you think would be the ones to do this. Somebody whom you may think is less attractive, somebody that you think is really attractive. There's self-esteem issues and triggers and trauma throughout every spectrum of human being. So you can literally get this behavior from literally anyone. And you have to understand and know that it has nothing to do with you, the person. People are seeking validation every day. And sometimes they got to cheat the system to get it. So I'm going to read a couple questions and then I'm going to go down the rest of my list here. Erica says, I've had men lie about their age. Yeah. Let me tell you something, right? It's as simple, like this is like a minute example. Back in the day, if I was dating an older woman and I was like let's say I wanted to date someone and they were like 35 and I might have been like 28. I'd tell them I was 30 just so I can get in the door. It's a lie. And eventually they find out, but I'm hoping that they like me enough that they'll forego the age. Because I wanted this particular person to like me. So people do these things for their own selfish reasons. Love Tucker says, oh my God, I had a guy lie once about his age. I didn't care. He did too much. She also says, like, lie about your weight. Who is going to really know that? Yeah. And Love Tucker says it, and I'm going to speak to this, that it's going to come out eventually. Here's the thing. The person that's doing it doesn't care about, they're not thinking about the future. They're thinking about feeling good today. And then that feel good is on a 24-hour cycle. How can I get to the next 24 hours? How can I get to the next 24 hours? They're not thinking about 4 weeks later when you find out and you get pissed off or you curse them out, punch them in the stomach and roll out. They're not worried about that. I'm sitting at my house by myself feeling like shit. I need to feel good now. What's the quickest way to do that? The lie makes more sense in that immediate term because it's dysfunctional from its origin. Russell says, those lies on social media get worse and worse. Catfishing is too much. Yeah, think about it like this. Catfishing comes from the same place. You will not like me, the person, so I'm going to lie to make you like me so that I can feel validated and feel good about myself because my self-esteem is probably low. Low self-esteem, I'm not your judge. We've all been there, right? It's when you take that extra step and bring somebody else into it is where the problem is. So Erica says, if they lie long enough to get you attached, then you'll probably stay around long. Yeah. And that's the trick. Erica hit it right on the nose. If you get into the habit of believing the lie. Even if you find it out, you're so connected that you're probably going to forgive it and you're going to stay. This happens every day and twice on Sundays. But even if you decide to stay, has that really solved whatever issues created the lie in the first place? No. And a lot of you guys will say, yeah, I found out he lied and I stayed, and then something else happened and something else happened and something else happened, because the reasons are still there. So we're gonna Erica says, now I'm mad at you, Derek. TK's Chronicle of a Black Sheep says, lies. How many kids sleeping with baby mamas, a job? Yeah, it's. Here's the thing though. Lying about jobs, lying about, being in a whole relationship. It all comes from a source of needing to feel validated emotionally. It may look nefarious on the outside, but it comes from a place of somebody that's broken on the inside. 99% of your players and your predators, they're seeking validation. Your cheaters, they lie because they're seeking validation. The actions that they do to seek the validations look horrid, but the origins still come from that place. And a lot of people who do this behavior, it's like the 10-year-old kid in them trying to still get validation that they never got. So then they become these monsters and they lie and they hurt people and they do all these things because they still haven't resolved whatever's going on inside. Sucks for the person who's getting lied to, though. So we're gonna move down this list. So we talked about lying for validation. We talked about people who lie on dates about status and all kind of things. This is, like I said, a lot of this is going to sound alike, but I want you guys to see the theme here so that you can understand. Duriel says, what type of validation? So when I say validation, if I'm lonely and I want to feel good, but I know I may not necessarily be that type of person to pull the type of chick I want, I'll tell them I'm a different guy so that I can feel better, so I can feel validated in my need to feel like I'm the man, right? Sometimes people want to get validated because their self-esteem is low. So they'll go online and they'll post something and they'll sit and they'll look every 2 seconds to see if somebody liked it because they need to be validated that their post is, whatever it's doing, it validates my thoughts. I put this quote out there because this quote is about how I feel. Let me see how many other people feel the same way. But inside, that's really not how you're living. So it's a lie by definition. You just need the validation. I'm going to show people, I'm going to stand next to this Mercedes and tell them that I just got a new car and you're driving a Honda Accord. It's a lie. Why would you do that? Because there's something in you that needs to be validated by other people. So I hope that makes sense. That's just a couple of examples. I got a couple more points. Like I said, we're not going to stay long, but I want to make sure that you guys really absorb this. Because throughout our lives, we always ask ourselves internally, why would someone feel like they have to lie? That's what this show is about. And we would think in our minds that the only reason someone would lie is because it's some kind of malicious reason. And we're going to talk about that too, because there are people that do it for that particular reason. So now we move from dating into long-term relationships and marriage. You've achieved the goal. You got the person. You've been together for some years. Why would you choose to lie in that environment? To the person that you love the most. You got the ring. Why would you lie in that situation? Here's the answer. sometimes, and I talk about this on my show a lot, across many shows, the space that none of us want to be in inside of a relationship is being hurt by the person that we're in a relationship with, right? And this hurt could come from an argument, could come from horrible communication. And when these things hurt, and then we don't resolve it because our communication and relation skills may not be in sync, we hold on to it. And then this is where the lie comes in. Is everything okay now? Yes, dear. We good. It hurt. Last 20 of them hurt. Why you going out so much more now than you was before? Like, is you okay? Yeah, I'm good. I just want to hang out with my boys. You got to hang out with them 9 times in a month? Every Friday, every third? You okay? Yeah, I'm good. And by definition, it's not being honest. It's not being genuine. Right? And the reason why someone would do that, because they fear how these things feel, so they learn how to avoid them. And one of the tools of avoidance is lying. They anticipate how you're going to react to something they do or say, so they don't have to feel like that again. So they lie to you to pacify you so that they can have, and we talked about this last week about being in the comfort zone, so they can have some level of peace. So you're lying to get to a peaceful place instead of resolving the conflict. Happens every day. And the person who's being lied to is like, I know he moving different. I know she moving different. Why won't they just tell me what's going on with them? Then you got to keep lying. Because if you get caught lying, then it's going to be another argument. So you got to lie again. Because the argument represents hurt. And you in a whole marriage, you in a whole relationship. It's the person I love the most. And your partner's like, okay, now I found out you lied. Why would you even feel like you had to lie to me? Now you had the opportunity to say, hey, these arguments we've been having, they affected me. You're not going to do that. You're going to say, I'm good. You're going to say, babe, I got to work late tomorrow. Just because you don't want to come home and deal with the hurt. You just lied again. People won't call it hurt, but that's what it is. Give it whatever name you want to. That's what it is. And if it happens enough to the point where it becomes your everyday feeling, then you now become a whole different person. You embody the lie now. And that's when you get on social media and you take the selfies with your partner and be like, hey, we're in Cancun. Meanwhile, that person is saying in the back of their head, the arguments hurt. I took you to Cancun so you could shut up so I can get back to my peace and quiet. Still haven't resolved it. But you had fun for 7 days. So when you get back home, we might get into another argument. So I got to lie again. Did the vacation fix it? Absolutely not. And then what happens is, this happens so much And the person who's receiving the lie so just, I don't even like it here. And then boom, you get divorced. And then you say, marriage doesn't work. Isn't that funny? Out of everything I said, the best you could come up with is that marriage doesn't work. When it started in here. Years ago. You're so scared. You done lied for 10 years just to keep peace at home. But inside, it's a prison because you can't be yourself. You are the lie. You've become the lie so much that your partner can't recognize the difference between the old you and the new you. I need y'all to sit on that. And your partner now thinks y'all are good. Because the lie and the real you look exactly the same now. Let it marinate. Just a little, just let it swirl around. Who, if they had a choice, would want to live like that every day for the rest of your life? It's torture. And that's one of the reasons why I became a relationship coach, because the origins of these things and what they turn out to, it's really just about managing that middle. Hopefully we can catch it at the beginning, but there is redemption as long as you are willing to take steps to try to resolve what's going on in here. Because once you do that and you absolve yourself of it, and you and your partner develop better communication, and the lies stop, and you can start to really reel yourself back in and really be free in your own home, then your relationship becomes something even more powerful than it was in the beginning. That's how you win. Let me read some of the comments because I see this stuff scrolling. Tashura says, the most lying I've experienced has been from Libras. Like, man, what you lying for? Love Tucker says, Libras are wonderful people. Erica says, we ain't wasting no money on vacation if we mad. We can stay home and be mad. Yeah, you're right. But y'all know, when people mess up and they get caught, now I'm talking about cheating, just lying about stupid stuff, and they be like, babe, I got us reservations to this restaurant. You putting a pacifier. You pacifying the situation. You're not resolving the conflict. And then y'all go have fun that night and then rinse and repeat. We know how this goes, right? It's a cycle of terror that hopefully one or both parties realize, and they can say, hey, we got to do something different. But in reality, people are so engrossed in their schedules and their routines and the kids and all of that stuff that they don't really figure this out until 10 years later. And now they looking at each other like, damn it, why are we here? Doesn't mean that they were never meant to be together. They just needed some relationship tools. Isn't that crazy? We're not talking about cheating. We're not talking about domestic abuse. We're talking about communication. Two good people can't communicate well. You end up with a liar, a cheater, a deceiver, a heartbreaker. So anybody that got that, let me know. If I had a prize, I'd give it to you. So anyway, let me see what else I got here. I think I covered a lot of my bullet points just with that right there. Like, a lot of times, a lot of things that our partners do trigger us, but we don't acknowledge the triggers and we just sit on it. We feel attacked, right? These are just communication tools, right? You could literally be sitting at home depressed as hell, and your partner had a task for you to do, and you lie to them and say, I'm going to do it later. When you know you don't even want to get up and you probably won't. She had to tell them something so they can shut up, right? Because you don't want to feel attacked. But then you don't do the thing and then the attack happens anyway, right? So it's like, why you got the lie, Craig? Wait. I know I'm crazy for this. Hold on, look.
Show last night.
You ain't got to lie, Craig. You ain't got to lie.
Ain't no.
Oh man, this right here. If you don't learn anything else from this, oh, I forgot where I need to go. One last place. The people that do lie for malicious reasons. These are the ones that we hate. Because its sole purpose is to manipulate you. For their own personal gain. Right? And they know what they're doing consciously. However, even the malicious person, it still comes from a place. Because whatever it is that the lie is supposed to get them still serves that part of them that wants to be validated. See how that comes full circle? So that doesn't absolve any of these different types of people I talked about from lying, right? We don't want to do that. We don't want to be that person, but it happens. And the reason why I did this is because I want you to understand why people do it, so that maybe in some cases the resolution can come quicker, because we understand that everything isn't always super malicious and angry and, you know, they're trying to do something to purposely hurt you. We need to really understand how we work so that we can deal with each other better, and we won't have to feel compelled to lie because we think that somebody's going to have a negative reaction or they're going to attack us or whatever it is. And so we build this thing to protect us, these lies, but they're really not protecting you, because eventually they get found out, or you got to do it for a long time to the point where you're just, it becomes a matter of habit, and now you look really crazy. So let me read some more of these comments. Durio says, hold the hell. Oh, Libras. Yeah, TK, Profile. Yeah, that song's crazy. Durio says, oh, a con artist. Yeah, they out there. They out there. I used to be one of them. And you know what? Oh, let's do this real quick. So y'all know about the character. No, some of you do, because some of you guys haven't been rocking with me for that long. But I created this character called Billy. And Billy is a predator. And Billy hurts people because he got hurt by somebody. And it creates a cycle of terror. By the way, next month, stay tuned, because we're going to have a show, the interview with Billy. And you get to ask Billy questions about his thought processes and why he does what he does. And I'll have someone interviewing me, just like I did on one of the shows I did before with Ursula from Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. So stay tuned for that, because if you ever wanted to get into the mind of a person who would do these things, this is your opportunity to really get it out. So ultimately, this lends itself to, you know, whether it's the dating phase or any other type of these phases, it lends itself to your boundaries, your discernment, right? We use these words all the time, but they're very powerful tools in life. Your communication skills. We know while we're in relationships that the communication sucks. So we have to then be proactive about figuring out how to get around it and how to fix it, and what kind of tools may we or may we not have in order to move forward before it turns into something crazy. Because a lot of you guys are dating, and it's not easy right now. It's really not easy to date Nobody really want to be outside if they had a choice, right? But when you're in these when people are in relationships and they end and you're back out there, what if there was a moment where the course could have been corrected by something really simple? That's why I'm here. Course correction, changing the trajectory of your relationship. Some people we should have never been with, but some people we know they're not horrible people, but we done did so much hurting each other that that we can't repair it. So think about that, guys. Tashura says it's no fun outside. Yeah, I'm here to help y'all with that too, as much as I can. I know it's tough, but it's possible. And as long as it's possible, I have hope that, a lot of people that are in my circle and outside of my circle will be able to at least meet people, and I'm not even saying marry, but just meet some valuable people to put into your life, whether it's a relationship or friendships. We failing on both fronts right now in 2021, and we need to get it together. So yeah, Billy is going to have a whole interview, like Interview with a Vampire. We about to get that in. It's already set. So stay tuned for that flyer, because things are coming out. I already have a date for it. And Ursula's going to help me out again with that. So it's going to be interesting, and you're going to learn a lot. Bring your questions. Because they're all getting answered on that day. So I will give you some lead into that. So we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to give TK the definition of who Billy is, just for clarification. And this is a tangent from tonight's show, but I'm going to give you like the quick 60-second synopsis of Billy and Susie. So what I realized about myself, coming from the life of really hurting people because I was hurt, I realized that me being hurt by women made me go out and hurt other women. And when I hurt those other women, they in turn end up hurting other men that weren't bad guys. And then those good guys turned into bad guys. And then they started hurting women. So it's almost kind of like the chicken and the egg. The good guy meets a woman that's already been hurt by a guy, and then she hurts him. So is she the bad guy? Right? So I gave these two characters names, Billy and Susie, because I didn't want to use names that y'all would come at me for, like Keisha and Darnell. So I picked Billy and Susie. And Billy is probably one of the worst types of predators you can have. And he has a perspective, and his perspective will let you understand how a lot of this behavior happens, what it looks like, and why it happens, and what the motives behind it are. We do deep dives on that. Go back into the archives. I got several shows about them. But yeah, so it's tough. And a lot of that came from Alicia, because we would always see people and I'd be like, she crazy. And she'd always say, Derek, I guarantee you she didn't start out that way. And then it starts going back into childhood traumas and all these kind of things like this. It's this big pot of dysfunction that we all live in, and it repeats itself. And when you take a dysfunctional Billy and a dysfunctional Susie and you give them a kid, that kid then becomes dysfunctional, and they didn't even have to meet anybody to become that way. And then the cycle still continues. So it's like this big rabbit hole. So it's big. So be on the lookout for that show. I'm gonna read a couple comments and then I'm gonna wrap this up. Tashura says Billy is who I've been meeting for the past 13 years. Duriel says, yeah, hurt people, circle of abuse. So just to kind of close this little part right here, what I do here on these type of shows and why I'm doing the whole interview with Billy thing is, if you know the motivations and you see the actions, then your boundaries can become better than what they are, so that you can discard these people before they get into your heart. Because in most cases, it doesn't take much. And if you know what to look out for, because as much as people think they didn't see all the game, you haven't. You really have to pay attention to the behaviors of these people. So anyway, that's a whole nother show. We're going to do that in a few weeks in November. I believe it's November 17th, I believe. Somewhere around there. But just stay tuned. It's coming. I think it's like the third week in November that we're going to do that show. So we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys for coming. I know we absorb some things. We get triggered. But like I always say, if we don't get triggered, if we don't recognize the triggers, then we won't recognize the spaces where we need to do the work. That's why I'm here. I'm not perfect. I'm working on me too. But we got to realize why we do the things we do, that so that we can live better lives and make better decisions. Because if we don't, a lot of us ain't 21. How many more years you going to keep repeating? Sometimes you're going to have to find somebody to help you figure it out. A coach, a therapist, a psychiatrist, or whatever they call it. You might need all of them. But even if you do, there's nothing bad about realizing that you can't do it alone. So remember that. So, on that note, we're going to get out of here. Make sure you guys go to relationshipgumbo.info to get all of the things that I have to offer and see all the shows that I'm going to be on and all of that good stuff. So, make sure that you guys stay tuned. I got some more changes coming starting in November. Things are going to look different. They're going to feel different. I'm going to have some things that y'all can access and all these things. So I am diligently working. So I want to make sure that you guys have the best content ever, the best interactions with the things that I have, the website. Everything needs to be user-friendly and all that good stuff. So I want to make sure that y'all are good. And y'all help me be better. If you have any comments, if you have any show topics you want me to cover, all you have to do is DM me on Instagram or any of the other contact methods that I have, or comment on YouTube and say, hey, I think you need to do a show about this, and I will, within reason, I will make it happen, because I know some of y'all be having some stuff going on in y'all head that I will never touch. So on that note, y'all have an amazing evening, and I will see you next week, same time, same place.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derrick Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in.